At the touch of the fire kadosh. Today we're going to finish up Liber Ararita with its chapter 7. And just to briefly, you might notice that I'm wearing, perhaps you've noticed my hat this morning. Well, it's Labor Day. Of course, we at the DuQuette house actually celebrate May 1st as International Workers' Holiday. But any chance to honor labor is a good excuse. So happy Labor Day, everyone. In the United States, anyway. Anyway, yes, I am wearing my Scottish Rite hat, and I'm doing that because today's little section of our discussion of Liber Ararita has something to do with this fiery magic word kadosh, which roughly translates holiness. But it's holiness and light and fire, the ideas of light and fire. And it's not the elemental fire that we're talking about, but it's just the primal singularity fire of being. It is the true fiery nature of the gods. Now, before we get a little deeper into that, I'm just going to review what we've gone through here, what Crowley says about Liber Ararita. Ararita, a name of God which is a notaricon of the sentence, and a code using the first letters of a sentence. One is his beginning, one is his individuality, his permutation is one. The use of this name and formula is to equate and identify every idea with its opposite, thus being released from the obsession of thinking any one of them as true and therefore binding. One can withdraw oneself from the whole sphere of ruach. Ruach is that the middle management, middle level frequency of consciousness, or the Kabbalistic part of your soul that is associated with intellect and reasoning and things like that. And we all know we can't think our way into enlightenment or total awakening. And the mind only takes us so far. So this is one of those Kabbalistic tricks to get us to transcend the mind. So contrast each verse of chapter 1 with the corresponding verse of chapter 2 for the first of these methods. The method of identifying every idea with its opposite. In chapter 3, still verse by verse correspondence, the quintessence of the ideas is extracted, and in chapter 4 they're withdrawn into each other, into the one beyond, and in 5 they've disappeared into the method itself, and in chapter 6, which we did yesterday, they reappear in the form appointed by the will of the adept. Lastly, here's today. In chapter 7, they are dissolved, one into the next, until they all finally disappear in the fire kadosh, the quintessence of reality. Okay, Crowley was a big fan of the document called the Chaldean Oracles. And toward the end of the Chaldean Oracles, there are two major things. The oracles from Porphyry, it's called. And actually, I put it in a little poster just a few minutes ago and posted it on my page with a beautiful picture that I just captured somewhere of a lion, because the lion is an important character in this Fire Kadosh. But I'm going to read, before we do our final little read through, I'm going to read those two oracles from Porphyry. The first one is, there is above the celestial lights an incorruptible flame, always sparkling, the spring of life, the formation of all beings, the original of all things. This flame produces all things, and nothing perisheth but what it consumeth. It maketh itself known by itself. This fire cannot be contained in any place. It is without body and without matter. It encompasses the heavens. And there goeth out from it little sparks, which make all the fires of the sun, of the moon, and of the stars. Behold, what I know of God. Strive not to know more of him, for that is beyond thy capacity, how wise soever thou art. As to the rest, know that unjust and wicked man cannot hide himself from the presence of God. No subtlety, no excuse can disguise anything from his piercing eyes. All is full of God, and God is in all. And the second one, it's a little shorter. There is in God an immense profundity of flame. Nevertheless, the heart should not fear to approach this adorable fire, for to be touched by it, it will never consume by this sweet fire, whose mild and tranquil heat make the binding, the harmony, and the duration of the world. Nothing subsisteth but by this fire, which is God himself. No person begat him. He is without mother. He knoweth all things and can be taught nothing. Okay, also from another part of the Chaldean oracles, the first line, or line 0 from our little chapter 7 today from Liber Ararita, is a quote from the Chaldean oracles. Then in the might of the lion did I formulate unto myself that holy and formless fire kadosh, which darteth and flashes through the depths of the universe. At the touch of the fire kadosh, the earth melted into a liquor clear as water. At the touch of the fire Kadosh, the water smoked into a lucid air. At the touch of the fire Kadosh, the air ignited and became fire. At the touch of the fire Kadosh, O Lord, the fire dissipated into space. At the touch of the fire Kadosh, O Lord, the space resolved itself into profundity of mind. 6. At the touch of the fire Kadosh, the mind of the Father was broken up into the brilliance of our Lord, the Son. 7. At the touch of the fire Kadosh, the brilliance of our Lord was absorbed in the knot of Our Lady, the body of the milk of the stars. 8. Then only was the fire Kadosh extinguished. When the enterer was driven back from the threshold, 9. And the Lord of silence was established upon the lotus flower. 10. Then was accomplished all that was to be accomplished. 11. And the all and the one and the not were slain, but in the slain of the warrior 4:18. 12. In the slaying of the subtlety that expanded all these things into the 12 rays of the crown, 13. That returned unto one and beyond one, even into the vision of the fool in his folly that chanted the word Ararita, and beyond the word and the fool, yea, beyond the word and the fool. So that finishes up Liber Ararita. As I mentioned earlier in our series here, it is interesting, it is enlightening, it is puzzling to play with Liber Ararita in sections and comparing each line with each other line, with each other verse, but also to see how and to repeatedly read and meditate on how 0 goes into 1 and 1 goes into 2 and 2 goes into 3, okay, and to play, even if it's to sort of mindlessly memorize the rhythm of going from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then verse 1 with verse 2, and etc. That rhythm establishes sort of an inner evolutionary pattern of thought that at least Crowley hoped and intended would allow you to rise above your ruach. So in other words, I sort of looked at working with documents such as this as sort of like squirting WD-40 or a high-grade motor oil into the machinery of your own psychic structure, because your illumination will be different than Crowley's and different than mine, okay? Because we've all fallen asleep in our own separate way, so we're all dreaming our own separate dreams, so we all have to wake up in our own separate way. But anyway, that's the end of Liber Ararita and our discussion of the Fire Kadosh. Uh, and just the hint of the kadosh. Yeah, the 30th degree of the Scottish Rite is called the night kadosh. And there's the kadosh degrees that are uh, associated in some rites anyway with the wisdom of the Knights Templar and things like that. So that's why the get up. Anyway, that's enough for today. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Be good to a worker. Do something for your local labor union. Join a union. We need them more than ever. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.